QST, QST. This is W4EMB, and my name is Ed. Welcome to the CW Corner Podcast. My podcast can be found on Spotify, Amazon Music and Audible, iHeartRadio, and Apple Play. So look for me on your favorite podcast platform. Have a listen on your commute. If you have any ideas or suggestions for topics, or even questions, I'm good on QRZ.com. Also, you can see me on YouTube at W4EMB. So let's get into today's episode. And with that, today's episode is my tools. What tools do I use here in the shack or on the road? So I'm going to go ahead and cover a few of those. First, I'll give them off in a list, and then I'll go through and I'll talk about each one. All right, one of the tools that I use, the RBN, the Reverse Beacon Network. Next is the RBN in Graph. Also, QRZ page, the online swap meet. In line with that is QTH.com, another swap meet style place. Next, I use Ham Alert, probably every day. And then the POTA app itself, the web page that you go to see who's activating or who's currently at a park. Next is Morse Walker, and it's a web-based program. And then Morse Code Ninja on YouTube. And then finally, the Ham2K or Polo app. All right, let's talk about the RBN, the Reverse Beacon Network, and what do I use it for? Well, the Reverse Beacon Network is something I have on my phone with Ham Alert, because when you add your own call sign to Ham Alert, you can send a test this is W4EMB, and it will hit the RBN, and your Ham Alert will go off to let you know that you've hit it. But I will use the RBN to see what's my signal looking like today. So if I, again, just get on the radio and say, test, this is W4EMB, all in CW, the Beacon Network will pick me up, and I can open up the RBN, and I have a little web page saved on my cell phone as well, right on my cell phone desktop, as it were, and I can just click it right away and see where am I getting out to. Is the 20-meter band short today? Is it long today? And the RBN, it's not a chiseled in stone factual. It may show you all your signals are going to the northeast and very few are going to the west. But lo and behold, you do a POTA activation anyway, and you make Idaho and Arizona, and you make stations out west. So don't take it as your signals aren't going that way. Keep in mind population densities, who all has a beacon set up to receive, much more prevalent in the northeast kind of area anyway. All right. And then as I talked about the RBN, I talked about Ham Alert. Ham Alert is an app on my phone. And on Ham Alert, you can enter parameters to make it go off. And the most common parameter I use is call sign. So I will type a call sign in there, such as, let's use, for instance, my friend Stuart, KM3STU. I'd like to know whenever Stuart's out there on the air, because he's probably doing a Parks on the Air, and I'm sure he would appreciate another QSO while he's trying to get his activation in. So I have Stuart on my Ham Alert. Now, other folks that I've told about Ham Alert, they've tried it out and they immediately take it back off because they say that their phone just goes crazy. Well, I let them know also, you make your little Ham Alert account. Well, go home and get on your PC or laptop or tablet or something with a little bit bigger screen, and go to Ham Alert and go to the parameters and set it up for, I forget the exact name of it, but like once per band per hour, and make sure that those are checked, or add that time limit in there so that every time Ed calls CQ, I'm not setting off your Ham Alert. You'll have me on there. The one time I call CQ, it'll make your phone go do, and you can check it and go, oh, Ed's on the air. But it won't go off every time. And then if I switch bands, it'll let you know, oh, Ed's now on 17. Now that comes in handy. So let's go back to Stuart being out there doing POTA, Parks on the Air. he's on 20 meters. Let's just say I'm not hearing him. I just can't copy him. And then all of a sudden, my ham alert goes off again. Says, "Oh, Stewart, it's Stewart again. Oh, but now he's on 17. Oh, well, let me try 17." So I can come into my shack, turn on the radio, and lo and behold, I got him on 17. So it's nice to have it once per band per hour on the Ham Alert app. All right. RBN in graph. Okay. That comes in very handy. If you just Google that term, it'll take you to a web page. It shows you literally a graph. Across the bottom of the graph is the frequency range. Let's say that it's 14 to 14.100. And you can change what band you're listening to. And then on the left side of the graph, vertically, is the time. Okay, and it will literally put a dot on this graph showing you a call sign, and it will have the call sign listed right next to the dot. The further up the graph it is, the longer ago it was. And then, of course, across the bottom of the graph, wherever it's located is what frequency it's on. And when you take your mouse and hover over it, it will show you the frequency and call sign right there. So if you're at home and you're trying to practice your CW and you're just turning that dial and you'd like to tune in on a call sign and you're trying to copy along with it, and you think you have it, but how can you confirm that that's what you heard? Well, just go to RBN in graph and look at that frequency and then check it to see if that's the same call sign that you heard. And there you go. Oh, and I forgot to mention something about the RBN. The RBN itself, if you're trying to do some CW copy practice and you're sitting there at the dial of the radio and you're just tuning around and everybody's just too fast for you, on the RBN, you can actually set it for a CW minimum and maximum speed. So if you want people who are below 15 words a minute or below 18 words a minute, you can simply put in 18 words a minute. And then under the time, you can put in the last 2 minutes. And then execute that. And it will show you anybody under 18 words a minute who's been on the air in the last 2 minutes right there on the RBN. And then you can tune to those frequencies and see if you can hear them so you can get your on-air copy practice done. And speaking of a on-air copy practice, oh, there goes my ham alert. Just went off on my phone. So somebody's on the air. I forgot to mute my phone. Online copy practice. There's a thing that's called Morse Walker. And it is a straight up QSO simulator. And you could put in all kind of parameters. How fast do you want call signs to come at you? How many at once? How fast do you want your speed to be? And you just hit play, and it will play you calling CQ. You put in your call, your name, and it will play CQ, this is W4EMB, okay? And then at different speeds, different tones, and different volumes, call signs will answer. You put your fingers on your keyboard, and as you hear a call sign, you type it in. If you get the whole call sign, you type in the whole call sign and hit enter, and then your computer will reply. Let's say that you heard W4EMB. And you type in W4EMB, enter. It will say W4EMB, thank you, you are 599, over. And then that other call sign will come back and give you a signal report and say over. And then yours will say, okay, goodbye. And then all of a sudden you'll hear another call sign come in. And let's say that it's a KM something. Well, you can type in KM ? Hit enter, and it will play it again. And you can keep doing this program, and at the bottom, it will keep some stats for you. Like, how many times did it take you to get that call sign? Like if you keep doing the K ? And how long was the QSO in general? So you can actually turn your QSO copy practice into a tangible number and then keep track of that. And if you keep doing this page, once a day you go to Morse Walker to do CW practice, you keep this tangible number and you can see those numbers improve, and you'll see improvement in your CW copy. So I like the Morse Walker program. All right, so we talked about the RBN in graph. Oh, there's my phone again. Morse Walker. Okay. Another thing that I use is the QRZ homepage, the Swap Meet. I probably go there every day. I might have talked about that already. Now I got a military helicopter flying over too. Okay. Well, you get it all here on my podcast, don't you? All right. Ham Alert. We talked about Ham Alert. the POTA app, the POTA webpage to see who's currently activating at Parks on the Air. I have that on my phone as well, and I will go there quite often and just check it to see if is there anybody on the. Now I say quite often. I should say I go there when I'm available to be at my radio. If I'm near my radio or in my shack, then I will go to the POTA app quite a bit to see if there's anybody on there that that I know or that I could hear. And that comes in quite handy, the POTA page itself, the Parks on the Air app. All right. Let's see. Last thing I'd like to cover here, two things. The Morse Code Ninja on YouTube. He has a million videos out there. And I find that if I just do a search, here lately I did a search for U.S. call signs, 20 words per minute, Morse code. That's what I type in the search bar on YouTube. And I look for the Morse Code Ninja videos. I like how he sets his up because he will play a call sign, say what the call sign is, and then play it again. I think that's a very valuable tool when learning. If you're practicing your copy, don't just quit once you have the answer. Listen to it one or two more times after you know the answer and follow along with it. So the Morse Code Ninja on YouTube. If you look for him, you'll find he has just a lot of things. It's much easier to just do a search for the speed of what you're listening for. And the final thing I'd like to cover in today's podcast is Ham2K, and that's in your app store, whether you're Apple or Android, and it's called Polo or Ham2K, and that's the word ham, the number 2, and then K, Ham2K, or again, Polo, Polo, and it is a logging app that is absolutely, in my opinion, the industry standard. Sebastian has done phenomenal work with that app. Please go show Sebastian some support. That app is wonderful. You can watch some YouTube videos on it where Sebastian has done interviews and talked about its many uses and hidden little secrets that it has. But basically, you can go out, set up at a park, and you could tell it to open up and do a W4EMB POTA nearest. And it will look for the nearest park and it will set up the log and boom, you're ready to go. All you have to do is put in your frequency. And you don't have to do it in the frequency field. You can actually type your frequency right where you would normally type the call sign. You could type in 14.057, enter, and it will change your frequency on your log. So that way now all the QSOs you log will be logged on the correct frequency. So if you do have to move frequencies, you don't have to take your finger and try to touch the little window on your phone. You can just type it right in the same place where you type a call sign. And it knows the difference between a call sign and a frequency. So that is just amazing. The other wonderful, absolute industry standard thing I think about the Polo app is that it has a button you can touch that says self-spot. So after you do type in your frequency, you hit self-spot and it will say spots you at 14.057 and you hit, yeah, confirm that. And bloop, you're done. It will spot you on the POTA webpage as long as you're using the Polo app set up for POTA for the Parks on the Air. If you're just using it as a general log, I don't know if it'll spot you anywhere like on the POTA page or not, but I always use the Polo app just for Parks on the Air. And so you can spot yourself, and it even has a function where it will keep respotting you every 10 minutes. And then once you are done with your Parks on the Air activation, at the same place where you would type a call sign, you could simply type in QRT, enter, and it will mark you as QRT on the POTA webpage also. So it's a one-stop shop that just does it all. It spots you, it marks you as QRT, it keeps your log. And then when you get done, you tap the button that says operation and you say export that ADI file. And it'll say, well, how do you want to do it? And I just pick on my email icon and say, email that to me. And I'll email it to myself. I come home, open up my email, grab that log, and I keep a folder of all my logs on my computer. And I will grab that log, upload it to the POTA website, upload it to my personal log, and walk away. I'm done. So Ham2K or Polo, wonderful, absolutely wonderful. I suggest it for everyone. And if you have the means, hit the little support button that's on there, and so show Sebastian a little bit of support for creating such a wonderful app. All right. Well, folks, that puts me in about 14 and a half minutes on today's episode covering what tools do I use. And those tools are including the ones I use in the field and the ones I use here at home. If you have any questions about any of those tools, feel free to email me or ask me questions in the comments. I'll be happy to let you know. Or if you'd ever like to just do a video chat and see them, I can share my screen if you're not quite sure what I mean, or as I talk about them. I always welcome visitors here to the shack, even if it's on a video chat. Well, anyway, I'm Ed W4EMB, your host here on the CW Corner podcast, and you can find me on Spotify, Apple Play, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and I don't know, maybe some others that are out there. But thanks for tuning in, and I will see you on the next podcast. So 72. Well, if you're QRP like you should be. Bye, hi.